You are the host.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
so these are the dilemmas, and acharyas are so wonderfully they are asking about the dilemmas. What is Adibhuta? Now you please read this Adibhuta.
Sorry. What is Adibhuta?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I lost this. Okay, something is coming in my screen. Yeah. What is Adibhuta? Since Adibhuta means that which rules Adi, the living entities, Bhuta, does it refer to the products of the elements such as pods or the gross bodies of the jivas? Who is Adi Daiva? Who is the personification of everything in the universe? A demigod or the Virat Purusha, the universal form of the Lord? Who is Adi Yajna? In other words, who presides over the sacrifice? And where in the body does he live? Srila Prabhupada explains. Lord of sacrifice may refer to the either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here Arjuna asks who is actually the Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord residing with the body of the living entity.
Yeah. So these are the questions which is having this subtleness inside it. The people should understand who is Adi Yajna, whether it is Indra, and to whom the sacrifice has to be offered. Generally, the Yajna, Adi Yajna, or the Yajna, or whenever we are talking about the sacrifice, then the people thinks about only for the home, or Yajna means what? That is like the fire sacrifice. Like the people feel that. But the sacrifice, it is not always a fire sacrifice. It is a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice means it is a yajna. Whenever we are doing, like the Krishna mentions in the Gita that yajnanam japa yajñosmi. So whatever the activities which we are not thinking for oneself, but it is for the pleasure of somebody else, that is called as sacrifice. We are sacrificing our own desires. We are sacrificing. We are not thinking for oneself, but we are thinking for something else, which is more noble than what we generally think for oneself. So it is like the parents are doing the sacrifice for the kids. The teachers are doing sacrifice for the teaching sake to the others. So everybody is doing some sacrifice, and the sacrificial person is like it is the object of their sacrifice. Like somebody is doing the sacrifice for their nation, for their state or the community. So it is their aim is that our nation, our state or the community should grow. That is, I am doing for that. But the Adi Yajna, it has been mentioned that Adi Yajna means it is for the Vishnu only. Nobody should come in picture. Says Yajna Vai Vishnu. Whenever we are thinking, it is like ultimately we should think for the Vishnu, and then the subsidiary things comes in mind. If we are thinking for something temporary object or temporary people, then it is like the yajna will not take a shape, or it will not be that much fruitful. The results will not be that much admirable. But when we think about it, it's like I am doing this in remembrance. It is like this is the service I am offering for the Lord Vishnu. in terms of what, like the family engagement, like the Grahastha should do a sacrifice for the Lord Vishnu and thinking that Krishnera samsara kari chadiyanacha. We should do it for the Lord Vishnu's pleasure, not for our kids or the husband. It is a responsibility. It has been offered to us to take care of my husband or wife or the kids. So whenever the person is in our mind, like Lord Vishnu, so it is Adi Yajna. In other words, who is prescribed over the sacrifice is the Lord Vishnu only. Nobody else. Who is Adi Deva? Who is the personification of everything in the universe? A demigod or the Virat Purusha? That is naturally the Virat Purusha only. Whenever we are offering the prayers to the demigods, it is ultimately, indirectly, it is for the Virat Purusha only. So it is, everything is inside that. So now this is like the fourth question. What is Adi Bhuta? Since Adi Bhuta means that which is rules the living entities, the Bhuta. Does it refer to the products of the elements such as spots or the gross bodies of the jivas? So it is what exactly? It is gross body is Adibhuta, or it is ruling. So it is answered here in this the chapter only. Adibhuta means it is a jiva which is having the covering. What is a karma? Is it an ordinary action or the action prescribed in the Vedas? The ordinary actions, generally it is vikarma, and the prescribed duties or prescribed actions which are mentioned in the Veda, it is called as a karma. What is adhyatma? Arjuna is asking about adhyatma. The self refers to the gross or the subtle body. So it is sometimes the adhyatma, atma is been referred to as the supreme personality of God. Sometimes it is referred to as subtle body. Sometimes it is referred to the gross body also. So generally it is referred to the atma, the living entity, the inside. So the Brahman is also referred many times in the Gita as the Jiva or the Paramatma. But generally, whenever we are talking about the Brahman, it is contextual. It is a contextual thing for the Paramatma. If that shloka is mentioning about the Paramatma, but 90% in the Gita it is been talked for the Jivatma, but sometimes it is referring to the Paramatma. So that's why it is Baldev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is asking the question in general. He is like to make us understand. So Krishna will be answering. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Sri
Sri
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vacha
Vacha
Aksharam Brahma Paramam
Aksharam Brahma
Aksharam Brahma
Paramam
Paramam
Swabhavadhyatmamukhyate
Swabhavodyatma
Svabhavodhyatma
Uchyate
Uchyate
Bhuta Bhavodbhava Karo
Bhuta
Bhuta
Bhavodbhava Karo
Bhavodbhava Karo
Visarga Karma Sadnita.
Visarga Karma
Visarga Karma
Samjinitaha.
Samnita.
Yeah. So what Krishna is answering, you can read in that translation.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma. The self action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or footing activities.
Yeah. So Krishna is answering the three. The Brahman is the indestructible transcendental living entities. and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma. So nature means what exactly then? What is his nature? This is like, which is there always with him. The nature means the inseparable, the qualities, like the nature of the water is a liquidity. There is a liquid. When water comes in the form of solidness, it is losing its liquidity. So, an action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities, that is called as a karma. So, whatever the actions which makes them convert themselves into the material bodies is called as a karma. So, he has done something action, by that he has got this body. Yeah, please read the commentary.
Srila Prabhupada explains in detail, according to the Chandogya Upanishad, about the meaning of karma. It means specifically, technically, according to the purport. Karma means after one performs yajna or sacrifice, he goes to the heavenly planets. Then just before the punya or good karma that is holding him up in the heavenly planets expires, when there is a just little bit left, he comes down in the form of rain, and the rain is absorbed to make the grains grow, and the grains are eaten and become semen, and semen gives origin to a child gradually. That is karma. The action which develops material body for a soul when he descends from the heavenly planet, that specifically is what karma explains as karma. This body is composed of karma.
So it is the karma. If he has done the akarma more in this living entity, in this living body, while we are there in this human form of body, if we have done akarma more, then we will not go to the heavenly planets. We will be transcending this 14 planetary system. We will be transcending to this whole material existence. We will be transcending this whole the Ekpad Vibhuti, the material world, and we will be going Yad Gatvana Nivartante Tad Dhama Paramam. From that dham, we will not come back again. That akarma has not been performed. Either that person has done some vikarma or karma. Vikarma will lead him towards the hellish planets. But the karma will take him to the heavenly planets, and again, Shine Punyam Mrityulokim Vishanti. Then he will be coming down again. So that karma which takes him or which binds him again into this material world and give him the body according to the last birth, that Krishna mentioned in the last chapter, in the last chapter, like 7.29 and 30. So there he is mentioning about that is a karma. I'm not talking about the karma which will be transcending you to the spiritual abode. Adi Bhutam Sharabhava
Adibhutam
Adibhutam
Sharubhava
Sharobhava
Purushaschathi Devatam
Purushascha
Devatam
Adi Yajnyoham Evatra
Adiyajñoham Evatra
Dehe Deha Bhratam Vara.
Dehe Deha
Dehe Bhutam Vara.
Read.
Translation. O best of embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of Lord, which includes all demigods like those of the sun and moon is called Adi Daiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as super soul in the heart of every embodied being, I am called Adi Yajna, the Lord of sacrifice.
Yeah, please read.
Adi Bhuta means possibly the presiding deity of material manifestation. In that it makes clear Krishna's point in 7.30 to those who are in full consciousness of me, who know me as governing principle of material manifestation. It is not exactly just material manifestation, but is the Lord of material manifestation, which is constantly changing. All the demigods and their planets constitute the universal form. If one is worshipping material manifestation, he is actually worshipping Krishna indirectly. If one is worshipping the demigods, he is actually worshipping Krishna indirectly. If one is performing yajnas, he is actually worshipping Krishna indirectly because he is the Lord of all sacrifices.
So it is Adi Bhuta, it is this nature. Sometimes the people worship the nature. They worship the mountains, they worship the big things in the nature, they worship the ocean. So actually they are worshipping the Adi Bhuta, but they are indirectly worshipping the Lord himself, because his whole material manifestation is a part of the Lord only. It is from the Lord only. Like the universal form. Now it is like the Adi Deva. It has been mentioned the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and the moon, is called Adi Deva. So the universal form, generally the people are having the conception that is like different demigods we can worship for many things. And some people, they are worshipping the universal form, Vishwa. This is like Vishwa Yojana or Vishwa Rupa form. So there are some people, those who are worshipping the Vishwa Rupa. I recently came to know about one. It's like I recently met one person whose name was Karve Guruji in Maharashtra. He is a very famous personality about the Jyotish and many other things. So he asked me, like, whether I can see your hand. So I showed my hand, and then he said, like, so much the wonderful things are there in your life. Well, I don't know. It's wonderful things or what. But he said that you are worshipping Lord Krishna. We are worshippers of the Vishwarupa. And then he himself has composed one Vishwarupa Prarthana. Then I just thought of that Adi Deva. They are worshipping the Adi Deva. They are not worshipping one particular demigods. So it is a difference. Kamastasya jnana prapadyanti anya devata. So there is a difference between that shloka and this. The Adi Deva, they are indirectly worshipping. They are not worshipping one demigod. They are worshipping the Vishwarupa. It is they feel that they understand that there is one person who is all inclusive of all the demigods, and that is Vishwarupa. But Krishna says that it is like the Vishwarupa is there, but still you are worshipping this materially things. The Vishwarupa form is also the material form. It is not there in the spiritual world. So they are worshipping that form of the Lord. So there are different worshippers are there in this world. So somebody is impersonally, somebody is a Vishwarupa worshipper, somebody is a worshipper of the Adi, is like the material manifestation only, Adi Bhuta, and then so many varieties of the demigod worshippers are there. what not we are seeing. So that's why it is Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashchiri Yatari Siddhaye. If the people are the transcendentalists, there are in the transcendentalist wing, there are so many branches are there. So that's why the Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana, bahushakhai anantasha, buddhayo o vyavasayina. Don't just scatter your intelligence into this. That is, so many things are there, so many branches are there. Adi Bhuta, Brahman, like the people are worshipping the like the Krishna as a Brahman. They are worshipping as his Adi Bhuta. They are worshipping as Adi Yajna is also there, but it is like the Yajna, they are worshipping as a Yajna Purusha also. But they are not understanding who is a Yajna Purusha himself. So that's why it is, these are the indirect worshippers of the Lord. And they are worshipping, they are performing the yajnas, they are performing the sacrifices. The people in general, they are performing so many sacrifices. Again, I am not talking about the homa, like the fire sacrifice. I'm talking about the people, those who are doing the sacrifices in their life. Social reformers, they are doing some sacrifices. Social or that freedom fighters, they are doing the sacrifices, but they are not doing for whom they are doing the sacrifices. They are doing the sacrifices for their country, for their state, for their community, for many others, poor man, old man, association, this association, that association, and they are worshipping. Ultimately, they are serving the Lord indirectly. The people are having the agendas of the Manav Seva is a Madhav Seva. But Manav Seva is the indirect service for the Madhav Seva. As per this sloka, it is because the sacrifice, the word sacrifice is being used. The Manav Seva, you are doing something sacrifices, you are investing your money, energy, you are investing your time there. So you are doing something good. No doubt about that. But it is indirect. So the devotees are doing the direct services. So whenever somebody comes in the form of the social reformers, you should understand it is not only a Adi Yajna. Adi Yajna means it is not generally the devotees misunderstand it. It is only a fire sacrifice. Yajna means the people are our devotees are having the understanding it is sacrifice means fire sacrifice. Sacrifice means fire sacrifice. No, it is not only sacrifice means fire. Like the fire sacrifice is one of the part of the sacrifice. Sacrifice we are doing every day, but we are not knowing that to whom we are doing. For some temporary cause, we are doing some sacrifices, isn't it? On daily basis, we are doing some sacrifices, and we feel that by the sacrifice, the person who for whom I am doing the sacrifice, he will be benefited. Ultimately, it is not for the person. We are doing indirect to the Lord. So why can't we just think always for that? So I can do I can do this sacrifice in remembrance of the Lord, in thinking of the Lord for that particular object. So that will not make us the indirect sacrifice. So the Krishnera samsara kari chhadi anachar. We can do the family responsibilities in thinking that it is the opportunity to serve me, Lord, through my husband or through my wife. By that, it will not be anachar. I can serve my husband in thinking and in keeping Lord Krishna in the middle. By that, the connection is that because he has been offered to me by Krishna. So he is the Krishna's agent for me. Unless and until that person is also following some rules and norms. Like that. Please read.
What is Brahman? The indestructible living entity who is originally part and parcel of God is called Brahman. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport of verse 3. Brahman is indestructible and eternally existing, and his constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman, there is a Parabrahman. Brahman refers to the living entity, and Parabrahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to BG 7.29, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the spirit. It is said that one should understand that he is Brahman, spirit soul. This Brahman conception of life is also devotional service. As described in this verse, the pure devotees are transcendentally situated on the Brahman platform, and they know everything about transcendental activities. Only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness are actually entitled to be called Brahman, because they are actually endeavoring to reach the Krishna planet. Such persons have no misgiving about Krishna, and thus they are factually Brahman. What is the self? Brahman constitutional nature is called Adhyatma, the self. The constitutional nature of living entities to be served the Lord. Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport. Constitutional position of living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In the material consciousness, his nature is to try to be Lord of matter. But in the spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, his position is to be serve the Supreme. In other words, there are two types of Adhyatma. One is absolute, unchanging nature of loving service to Supreme Lord, and the other is the soul's material conditioning, which is always changing according to the samskaras stored in the subtle body. This second type of Adhyatma is called Swabhava.
Yeah.
I say that Adhyatma refers to the Swabhava. Swabhava is the substance which is intimately connected to the Jiva, Swa. It refers to the impressions held in the subtle elements which accompanies the Jiva birth after birth. Because impressions are closely related to the Atma, described in such as in the Chandogya Upanishad, they are called Swabhava. This Swabhava is what I call Adhyatma, that which rules over Atma.
So one thing is that eternally there are two Swabhavas. One is the absolute unchanging nature of the loving service to the Supreme Lord, and other is the soul's material conditioning, which is always changing according to samskara stored in the fatal world. So that is, here it has been mentioned what? This is like the second one, the Swabhava. So the Swabhava, one has to, so like the first one, eternal, it is there. It is a nature of the living entity to serve. To love means to serve. It's like to become a das means to serve only. And there is when the conditioning happens to this material body or to this living entity, then this is like the material, due to the material conditioning, this is changing according to the samskaras. According to the samskar one has got in this life or in the previous one. So that is changing. For example, everybody is having the different samskaras. There are 64 samskaras there in general. This is like the samskara of Garbhadan samskara, then Upanayan samskaras, and many others are there. Mrityu samskar, like the Mrityu samskar is also there. Parthiv Deha samskar is also there. So there are that from the womb to tomb, there are the samskaras are mentioned for this material body. And as per that, I like the samskaras are like the guidelines, or there is like the channel for the, like the water is having the channel, so through that channel the water moves. The same way our desire should move in the proper samskaras. If it is not there, like the samskaras are not there, some samskaras are missing, some are not there, like then the desires will not be having the proper guidelines. So that is been mentioned in this. What is adhyatma? The second type of adhyatma is called as a swabhava. This is like adhyatma here, it is been mentioned. What is the swabhava? But the real, from this to the first one, we have to always travel. Loving service to the Supreme Personality of God, that is the eternal swabhava of every living entity. But now we are conditioned. So that's why this conditioned living entity to come to the track of the first swabhava, there is a guideline. Yeah, please read.
What is karma? Due to material consciousness and activities, the living entity takes on various bodies. This process is called karma. Srila Prabhupada explains the technical meaning of karma as follows. In the process of sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifices to attain specific heavenly planets and consequently reaches them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, the living entity descends to the earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains, and the grains are eaten by the man and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice and to repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes on the material path. This Krishna consciousness person, however, avoids such sacrifices. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepare himself to return to the Godhead.
Yeah. What is Adibhuta?
What is Adibhuta? The changing physical nature is called, can you scroll down, Prabhu? Called Adibhuta, as it is explained by Srila Prabhupada. The physical nature is constantly changing. The material bodies generally pass through the 6 stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and they vanish. This physical nature is called Adibhuta. The Lord is the governing principle of this material manifestation, and it is confirmed in BG, Bhagavadgita 7.30.
So, what exactly is the difference between the Adibhuta and Adhyatma? Like this, Swabhava and Bhuta, Adibhuta is different. It's like the Swabhava or the samskara oriented, and the Adibhuta, it is a changing of the body or the body itself. We can say it is always changing. The material, like the physical nature, we were the small kid, but it was the samskara which was there always with us. So, like whatever the samskaras was been taught to us in the childhood, it is still there. It is like the samskaras are like that. It is generally the good things has to be taught in the childhood. It is having the all the imprints in the heart throughout our life. Since it is like a weight. Just a minute. मी क्लास देतो हरे कृष्णा मी क्लास देतोय मला 1 तासानंतर फोन कॉल करा so it is always there with us The body may change, but the samskaras will be always there. So Adi Bhuta is changing, but the samskaras, Adhyatma never changes. So that's why it will be there always with us. So eternal Adhyatma is there always with us. Like this, there are two Sabhavas which we have seen. The Krishna consciousness will be there always. And this also, throughout this body, it will be always there, and it will make us change to the another body as per what Adhyatma you have just traveled through. If you have traveled through the first Adhyatma, where your eternal Swabhava of serving the Krishna, then you will not be getting the Adi Bhuta again. But you have traveled to the second Swabhava or Adhyatma. Are you getting what I am saying right? This is like the second Adhyatma where you are opting. Then there are the chances where Adi Bhuta you will be getting. So the Lord is the governing principle of this material manifestation, and as it is confirmed in the Bhagavadgita 7.30. So the Lord is the governing principle for the material manifestation in general. So he is Adi Bhuta also. It is so this body is also made up of 5 elements. So he is the governing principle for this body also, for this Adi Bhuta also, or in Adi Bhuta in general. So that's why in the 7.4 only he mentioned what? Bhumirapo analo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankar iti amme bhinna prakrtirashuddha. So he is the in charge for this, whatever it is changing in oneself. What is Adi Deva?
What is Adideva? The conception of the universal form of the Lord, which includes all demigods and their different planets, is called Adideva. Adideva is further described in Bhakti Vedanta purport to Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam 2.1.19.
The conception of Virat Purusha, or the gignatic form of Supreme Lord, is said to include all the dominating demigods as well as dominating living beings. Even the minutest part of living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gignatic form of Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gignatic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form of Lord Sri Krishna, also appeases the demigods and all other
Parts and parcels.
All other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of the tree distributes energy to all of the tree's other parts. Consequently, for a materialist also, worshipping of universal gignatic form of Lord leads to one to the right path. One need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of different desires. The real entity is the Lord himself, and all of others are imaginary. For everything is included in him only.
So Adi Deva is a Virat Purusha, and the materialist worship of the universal genetic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. So he is better than the demigod worshippers, Adi Deva worshipper, but still he is indirect. So demigod worshippers, they are worshipping for some tiny puny things, for their desires to get fulfilled. But there are the worshippers, very rare now, as like Vishwarupa worshippers. They may not be for that, like something material things. They are in the right path, but they are still materialist, because they are worshipping the material form of the Lord. This is not the spiritual form. You may be asking, oh, Lord's form is a material. So it is like the whole thing, it is like the whole Leela is in the material and it is not there in the spiritual world. The matter is not there in the spiritual world. So how it is like the spiritual then? So they are worshipping the material form. They are understanding is like everything is all the combination of the demigods and many other things. It is called the Virat Purusha. It is like the description comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But this is the material form. So they are worshipping that. So that's why it is the materialistic, the people. They are having some tinge of material desires also. Who is Adi Yajna? Please read.
Prabhuji, can I take over, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, who is the Adi Yajna and where in the body does he live? Sri Krishna, who is represented by the super soul in the heart of every living being, is Adi Yajna. This has been confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, sloka 29, where it is said, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.30, by knowing Krishna as Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva and Adi Yajna, one can understand and know him even at the time of death. Since Arjuna is facing a great battle, anything related to knowing the Lord at the time of death is of vital importance for him. Therefore, after asking about the terms mentioned in verse 30, he posed an additional specific question. How can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The answer to this question becomes the main theme in this chapter. Verses 5 to 8, remembering Krishna at the time of death.
What is the shloka number 5.29? Somebody can just help me out. I am just a person in full consciousness of me. I just forgot it is like. Who is Adi Yajna?
Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surudam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva Santim Rachati.
So one can understand Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. So here it is so wonderful, it is been mentioned that Adi Yajna, I am the Bhoktaram, I am the enjoyer of all the Yajnas. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the Ishvara of all this existence of the planetary systems. Surudam, I am the well-wisher for everyone. Sarva Bhutanam, not for one, not for Arjuna, not for some particular Indians. No, it is for Sarva Bhutanam, for everyone. I am the Surud Mitra, Sakha. I am very kind-hearted towards them. Surudam Sarva Bhutanam. And one who knows that, Gyatva Mam Shantimuchyati, one who knows that, he will attain the real peace. So one who is always in the full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of the all sacrifices and austerities, that is the Adi Yajna that Krishna is mentioning about that. I am the Adi Yajna. Adi Bhuta also I am. Adi Daiva also I am. How I am Adi Bhuta? Somebody can say, we have just covered that. How I am Adi Bhuta, Krishna is saying that. So he is
all the living entities, Prabhuji.
Yeah, he is the like the Adi Bhuta is always changing. This material body and the material body is also changing. So the Krishna is saying that 7.4, he is mentioning that what? I quoted the shloka like some time back. It is Bhumirapo Anulo Vayu Kammano Buddhire Vacha Ahankar Iti Amme Bhinna Prapriya Shudha. I am the Adi Deva. How he is Adi Deva? Because he is a Purusha. He is Vishwarupa. So he is all the demigods are in the Vishwarupa form. And Adi Yajna, by this shloka 5.29, he is mentioning and he is proving that So Krishna is Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Yajna. Everything he is there. Yeah. Sorry. Verses 5 to 8, remembering Krishna at the time of death. It's very important how to remember the Krishna at the time of death. Antakale cha mameva
Antakale cha mameva
अन्तकाले च मामेव
smaran muktva kalevaram
smaran muktva
स्मरन् मुक्ता
kalevaram
कलेवरम्
ya prayati samadbhavam
ya prayati
यत्प्रयाति
samadbhavam
समद्भावम्
yati nastatra samshaya.
yati
याति
nasti astra
नास्तत्र
samsaya.
संशयः.
Okay. So antakale cha mame. Antakal. In the Hindi, it is Antakal. It has been mentioned in the Hindi, it is Antakal. At the time of leaving the body. Mameva. Mam means Krishna is putting the hand on the chest. Mam, Mera, mine. Mameva. What he does to me, my Smaran. He is remembering me. And then Muktva Kalevaram, then he will be Muktva. When at the time of death he is remembering me, he will be Muktva. He will be liberated. The liberation is not in the terms of what? This is like the which we have seen in the fourth category of the Sakama Bhakta 7.28, I feel it is, or 7.27. Last time we have taken this, that I want a liberation from the birth, old age, disease, Jalma Marana Mokshaya. That moksha is not talking like the Krishna is not talking about. Jara Marana Moksha, sorry. Jara Marana Moksha. It is not Jalma Marana Moksha. It is Jara Marana Moksha. So it is not that kind of liberation Krishna is saying that. Muktva Kalevaram, he will not come back in this. Yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshaya. Don't doubt on this. Krishna is giving that. It's like the heavy warning. Don't doubt on this. What I am saying. I am not bluffing here. I am not speaking very casually. When Krishna is speaking like that, very serious matter. Yati nastyatra samshaya. Don't doubt. When Krishna is warning and alerting by that samshaya word, Krishna is making this whole shloka very grave. Yati nastyatra samshaya. मेरे ऊपर संशय मत लेना. So like so grave words are there now. Don't doubt on it. It is not a casual shloka. Anta kale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshaya. So this is very important shloka. It is one of the hope-giving shloka. What we are doing, what we are trying to do in our life, the Krishna consciousness practice. This is a shloka where it is Anta Kalesha. This is in Marathi. How many knows Marathi here? No, nobody knows. Understand little bit. Understand? No. So I take pardon and I can speak something in Marathi and will make you understand in the English. There is one famous devotee in the Maharashtra, devotee of Lord Vithala, is a Tukaram Maharaj.
Bhakta Tukaram.
Yeah. So he says that याच साठी केला होता अट्टहास शेवटचा दिस गोडवा. What I have done in my life, it was for that one moment at the time of death. It was for that one moment at the time of death. This whole practice I have done in my life, because I know that is the This life is examination and death. No, life is a preparation and death is examination. And a type of death, what I am remembering, what I am just thinking of. याच साठी केला होता अट्टहास. शेवटचा दिस गोड व्हावा. Let my end will be sweet. Because God तुझे रूप, God तुझे नाव. I should remember the sweet pastimes of yours. I should remember the sweet face of Lord Krishna. I should remember the sweet dealings of Krishna with his coward boys and coward girls, the gopis. That throughout my life, I have just understood that Krishna is like Krishna is everything for me. It is not that easy that हमें ना स्मरण हो जाएगा. It is so easy. अभी इतना क्यों टेंशन लेते हो? Why you are taking so much tension that it's like the casually the people ask that why you are just thinking that at a time of death you will not remember Krishna. Krishna is saying that just like if you just remember me at a time of death, what is like you will not come back again in this world, and don't doubt on me. So that's why for this shloka our whole existence is there. On this shloka our whole existence is there. If Krishna might have not spoken this shloka, where was the guarantee that this is like uh, this is like muktva kalevaram? Krishna has openly spoken that those who practice, those who practice the Navavidha Bhakti, those who practice very sincerely, and those who are remembering Krishna, those who are remembering me at a time of death, I'm there for them. I'm damn sure I'm there for them. So that is the hope for us. That is the hope what we would like to do. That is the crux in our life that is like we have to follow. And it is not easy that at the time of death, Kantavarodhan Vitho Smaranam Taste, which is like Mukunda Mala Stotra, that one shloka. Somebody is speaking in between? No. Kafavata Pitte, when at a time of death, the kapha, vata, and pitta will be on my mouth, where I will able to speak about you, O Lord. Better you can take my prana when I am very young, when I am very healthy. That time only you can take my prana, and then I can kantha avarodhan ho jayega. Just like it will be obstructed. This whole kantha will not be will be choked. It will be blocked. At the time of death, when I can speak about you, when I can remember you, better you take out me right now when I am very young, or when I am very really having the good health. I don't want to take a risk. So that is a prayer. But we say that, oh Lord, please extend my life. Hare Krishna. Translation, somebody can read.
Translation. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Krishna answers to the question of Arjuna. How can we know you at the time of death? Krishna says, by remembering, because remembering is devotional service. And one who knows Krishna as the Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna, and Adi Bhuta can thus remember Krishna at the time of death.
He is Adi Deva, Adi Yajna, and Adi Bhuta. He is, one can remember, Adi Deva. When we are seeing this body, this is like the body is made of 5 elements. It is always changing. Then we can always think of Bhumi Rapu Anlo Vayu. It is the energy of the Lord. Adi Bhuta. Adibhuta is a changing. Adideva, when we are saying that, just like there are some people above us, there are some people, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, we can remember. But why we can remember? Because it's like that Adideva means like Vishwarupa is the superset of all these subsets. So better I can remember. So and who is Adideva? It is indirect representation of the Krishna himself. And Adi Yajna, Bhoktaram Yakatapsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the beneficiary of all the yajnas. If somebody understands that, then he will be attaining the eternal peace and stuff. So that is the way we can remember the Krishna. Remember him. Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu. Vismartam na jatu chit. We can always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu. Vismartavyam na jatu chit. Nobody can remember, nobody can forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna. Yeah.
Verse 5 answers the last question of Arjuna. How can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? A devotee can know Krishna at the time of death by remembering him, because remembering is devotional service. Anyone who quits his body remembering Sri Krishna is at once transferred to the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord without a doubt. This is the importance of Krishna consciousness. Unless one has practiced devotional service during his life, he will not be able to remember the Lord at the time of death. Therefore, one should constantly practice remembrance of the Lord by chanting the holy name. As Lord Sri Chaitanya has advised, this level of constant chanting can be achieved only when one is very tolerant and humble.
Trunadapi Sunichena Taroreva Sahishnunam Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadaharim. That is the shloka. Yeah, please.
In renunciation through wisdom, Srila Prabhupada explains how the devotee should prepare for death. The activities of the day evoke dreams at night and induce emotions appropriate to those activities. Similarly, the activities performed in one's lifetime flash across one's mind at the moment of death and determines one's next life. Therefore, if one's present activities are directed towards chanting, hearing, and remembering of the Supreme Lord's transcendental name, along with the descriptions of his beauty, qualities, pastimes, associates, and paraphernalia, then one's consciousness at the moment one leaves his body will automatically be attracted to the Lord. Therefore, devotees always remember him in all their activities, in their endeavors for food and safety, and even in the middle of the battlefield while fighting a war. Life being like a battlefield in which one may die at any time, the devotees remember him at every moment, and he willingly becomes the charioteer of their chariot-like bodies. The activities of the bodies, minds, and words are thus prompted to the Supreme Lord's will, and at the end, when they leave their gross and subtle bodies, they go directly to the spiritual sky.
So what we do at the time of day, that generally comes in the time of night as a dream. And then like, so the same thing, it is like the what we do at a time like throughout our lifetime, that will be coming in the as a flash movie in a fraction of second. The things moves while time of death, while at the time of death, this whole life movie of ours has been projected on the screen. And where it's like the maximum time we are doing that thing, oh, that will come. Oh, this is like the when I was participating in the Rath Yatra. Oh, this is the time where I met my spiritual master. Oh, this is the time when I was dancing in ecstasy. Oh, this is the time when I was doing this. And then we will be chanting Hari, 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 Hari. So these are the moments where we have to cherish. These are the moments we have to wide open. So kurmong niva sarvasha. This is like this second chapter of the Gita is mentioning about how one can practice the devotion life. Kurmonganiva yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvasha. It has been mentioned that whenever we are in the outside world, we're in the corporate world, or wherever we are in a materialistic circle, as we have the kurma, the turtle, tortoise, is shrinking his limbs inside because he knows there is a danger, there is a danger. And when it is in a homely atmosphere, then it is open. The tortoise, when it is with the other tortoise, then it is not shrinking. It is always there. So whenever we are there with the devotees, generally it has been observed. It is a it is a malpractice, not a malpractice, but something like the devotees does something like that. Whenever the manager comes, oh, he will be giving me some services. I can shrink my limbs inside. Oh, Prabhu, I am still chanting 16 rounds are pending, Prabhu. Oh, no, now you have done your 16 rounds. Better you can just, oh, what I can do, Prabhu, what I can do. By that, like the managers are the benediction givers. For that, we can always say that, or the project in charge is like Gachibowli project in charge or project head, whenever he is arranging some satsang program, big satsang program, and that time he is making a chart of the sevas to be rendered. You can pick up the preacher, you can make the services to be done like the DT services, or you can serve this prasadam, and you can do the setup or arrangement. So it is not a one-person task. It is a community task. So like the community to take the burden. If everyone says that, Prabhu, I can just sponsor, I can give 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, you get it done. So it is not a corporate program. It is you can sponsor it also, but you can be also there and do some like the service, like the Shramadan. It is like it is not a Shramadan. It is by your presence you are doing something. You are engaging your Adi Bhuta to by that. So by that it is like the services which will come. It will not come that how much money you have given. That will also come, but that will not give the relishment. That in the whole picture आपने 51,000 रुपए दिया, 1 लाख दिया, 2 लाख दिया, but that is like the matter has gone. But where you have realized that you are doing some services, you are just happy. I just remember when I was there in a PDC in 2005, 2004 or 5. That time we were having this whole 18 days dindi. In Maharashtra, there is a dindi. Like in our ISKCON temple also, we go walking from Pune to Dehu, Pune to Pandharpur. And this is 18 days walking was ecstatic. And every day 20 kilometers of walking was there. And after going there, it is not just a sitting down and says that Haribol, now it is done. This is like the brahmacharis has to walk, not only has to walk, but they have to distribute the books to the villages and run back towards the Dindi again. It is like 18 kilometers almost running. And after reaching there, like some grahasthas may take a halt and says that it is my legs are paining, but the brahmacharis, they have to arrange for the program. They have to prepare the prasadam and then distribute it and wind up also. And in the night 10:30, 11 o'clock sleeping and getting up in the morning again 4 o'clock, and then throughout day walking. So it was really challenging. After 7, 8 days, I really felt that this is like 18 days I have to do. And in one particular day, it was 26 kilometers walking. So, and it was a ghati area. It was a hilly area. And then afterwards, I got sick. I was really sick. And next to me, there is one friend of mine. His name is Rajeshwar Prabhu. And he is staying in a Gokul Dham in Belgaum right now. So he did such services. By seeing him, he was doing my services also, his services also, and he was helping me to give me some prasadam and medicines also, and was always there next to me. I just thought that this is like the devotional service. And the next day, even though I was sick, I just walked. And then he just saw that he was like, "You are walking." Then I just saw that this is you are the inspiration for me too. And then next 10 days, I walked, even though I was somewhat sick. And that 10 days, I cannot forget in my life. This is like so ecstatic for me, even though so many troubles were there. I was there, and this always I realized that this is sometime in every year I can spend 2, 2, 3 days in a dindi. But now it is not possible since I am the Rath Yatra in charge also here. So in the Rath Yatra time, the like this dindi happens. But last 13 years I used to go. So it is like this. This is the like the moment we have to cherish like this. How I practice my devotional life. One day it will be like as a as a whole picture will be shown to us in front of our eyes, and when we are happy in that, and when we will be saying, "Oh, I have done this thing. Oh, Krishna, thank you, Haribol." Then the Krishna will be also laughing and saying, "Oh, you have done it. You have achieved it." Yeah, because that was the time when you cherished. I was also there with you, and that's why I am just testing your attachments. I am showing you the picture from right from your birth, where you are attached with. You are attached with your materialistic friends. You are attached with your mother and father, if they are not devotees, or even if they are devotees, but that like the relationship you are attached with, it is a materialistic angle, and you are attached with the devotion service and the devotees, and or else you are attached with your egoistic idealism. So that way the Krishna is testing us, and then it is whether it is a spiritual or it is a like the material, the stamp will be on you. So that is Antakale Chamame Smaran Vakale. This is very difficult right now. So that's why it is a lifetime is preparation. We have to prepare now. We have to on our toes. Now this is a real crux. Everybody, mostly many of you are about 35, 40 or so. So how much is life? We have to now on our toes, be there for the devotion service, be there for the programs, be there with the satsanga, be there with the association, and always in association perform the devotion service. Please read this. In the verse 5,
In the verse 5, the Lord explains the specific situation of a devotee remembering him at the time of death. In verse 6, the general rule is presented. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Srila Prabhupada writes in Renunciation Through Wisdom. At the time of death, our state of consciousness determines our next birth. Death destroys the body made up of 5 gross elements, but the subtle body consisting of mind, intelligence, and false ego remains. As the air carries the scent of the place it blows over, so the soul carries a person's subtle body of mind, intelligence, and false ego. along with his state of consciousness onto his next birth, and his body is determined accordingly. When a breeze blows over a garden, it carries the fragrance of flowers with it. But when it blows over a rubbish heap, the breeze is filled with the stench. Similarly, the activities of a person performed during his lifetime continuously influence his mentality, and at the time of death, the cumulative effect of these activities determines his state of consciousness. Hearing Krishna's instructions in verse 5 and 6, one might conclude that since remembrance of the Lord is the most important thing, everyone should instantly abandon his duties and dedicate his time to hearing and chanting. To correct such hasty conclusion, in verse 7, Krishna says that Arjuna should always think of him, at the same time carry on his prescribed duty of fighting. With his activities dedicated to Krishna and his mind and intelligence fixed on him, he will attain the Lord without a doubt.
So it is that everyone will be thinking, no, now it is abandon everything. Now just remember Krishna. It is not possible like that. We are not on that stage. We are not on the stage of the Babajis. So that's why we have to do our prescribed duty and then try to remember like the Krishna. There are certainly there are some people like on that stage, but Arjuna and like us, we have to do our prescribed duty, Varnashana Paddhata, and then in that stage we have to. How many we can chant 192 rounds a day every time? It's not possible. Right now, it is not possible. Some of us will be able to do after some years. At least the mind will be always disturbed by that. By the chanting, the mind will be disturbed. When it will be ending, when it will, and tomorrow also it is neck 192. Tomorrow also it is 192. How many days? How many days I have to do? Are we on that? Are we on that? So artificially, we should not jump on that platform. We have to build up our muscles and then do that. Yeah.
Even though it may be difficult to remember Krishna while we perform our duties, it will be even more difficult to remember him at the time of death. Therefore, the Lord wants us to practice remembrance of him throughout our life. Text 6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam.
I'm just yam vapi smaram bhavam
Yam yam vapi
Yam yam
smaran
vapi
bhavam.
smaram bhavam.
yajati ante kalevaram
Yajati ante
Ante
kalevaram.
ante kalevaram.
tam eveti kaunteya
Tam tam yevaiti
Tam evaite
kaunteya.
kaunteya.
sada tadbhava bhavita.
Sada
Sada
tadbhava
tadbhava
bhavita.
bhavitah.
Yeah, please read.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Here is the general rule. Krishna just explained that whatever one remembers at the time of death, he goes to that place. One who meditates on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering him, undeviated from the path, is sure to reach the Supreme Lord. Verse 8. In this verse, the Lord emphasizes that constant remembrance leads to remembrance at the death. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport to verse 6.
Yeah. So whatever the state he remembers the Krishna, what is the state of being remembrance? So it is also the reciprocation from the Lord. The Krishna says that in the shloka, it is as per your devotion, I gives you the reciprocation. The same shloka in the same line it is there. Whatever you just at the time of death, you remembers me, that state and the body, and that way you will be getting the reciprocation from my side. So it is unflinching love. With that, you are remembering me. It is an unflinching way I will be taking you back to Godhead. So with the attachment, you are remembering me. With the envy, you are remembering me. So it is a Shishupal. Like with the envy, he was. So what state you are remembering me, that is the way I'm reciprocating with you. Yeah,
Of
please.
course, one's thoughts during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the moment of death. So this life creates one's next life. If one's present life, one lives in the mode of goodness and always thinks of Krishna, it is possible for one to remember Krishna at the end of one's life. Arjuna may think that this is a very good advice. You are telling me to remember you. That is a much better advice than you telling me to fight. I suggest remember you and not fight. But Krishna says, text
Yeah,
7.
so it is like the underline question by the acharyas. Arjuna might be thinking that then I can remember you always. I will, why to fight? You says that at a time of death, I have to remember. I will be, I will be, I will be remembering you right now also. I'm just giving my occupational duties and will be remembering you. Like that, I can do this thing. What's wrong in that? Krishna says no. Oh Arjuna, it is not for you. I'm just telling. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
Tasmat sarveshu
तस्मात् सर्वेषु
kaleshu
कालेषु
mamanusmar yudhya cha
mam anusmara
माम्
yudhya
अनुस्मरन्
cha
युद्ध च
may arpit mano buddhir
mai arpito
मयि
mano
अर्पित
buddhir
मनो बुद्धिर्
mame vaishyasya samshaya.
mam evaisyasya
मामे वैश्यस्य
asamsayah.
संशयः.
Please read.
Translation. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. At the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Sometimes a question is raised among the devotees. Is it necessary to remember Krishna while you are doing your duty, or just doing your duty for Krishna is enough? Here Krishna responds clearly to this question and also in 18.57. It is this practice mentioned in this verse that will allow me one to remember Krishna at the time of death. The time of death, it is the most difficult situation, much more than while doing one's duty.
Yeah. So always do your duty and remember the Krishna like that. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Every time. Mam anusmara yuddhacha. Means do your work and remember me. May arpita. While doing your work, you just have the thought process on me. Do the work, but in thinking of me, may arpita mano buddhi, mame vaishyasya asamshaya. I'm just telling you it is, don't put a doubt on this. Abhyasa yoga yuktena
Abhyasa yoga yuktena
अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन
chetasa nanya-gamina
chetasa
तसा
nanya-gamina
नान्यगामिना
paramam purusham divyam
paramam
परमं
purusham
पुरुषं
divyam
दिव्यं
yati parthanuchintayan.
yati
याति
parthanu
पार्थानु
chintayan.
चिन्तयन्.
Please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'll read it. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. By this practice of always remembering Krishna, one can ever conquer his own nature. This means that according to the modes of material nature, we have different tendencies and we have different strains, different weaknesses, different attachment, different frailties. But here is the process of conquering limitations of our nature. But it takes constant practice determination. In the first section, Krishna answers Arjuna's question, and ultimately they culminate in how to remember Krishna, which is the second section, remembering Krishna at the time of death. The third section explains how to remember Krishna.
Yes. It is Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. He who meditates on me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path is sure to reach me. So it is a practice. Arjuna might be thinking that it is like over a period of time or overnight. It is no, it is a practice. Then Chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramatya balavadrudam tasyaham nigraham mane vayoriva sudushkram. When Arjuna says that, then first time or the second time, it is like the first time here it is Abhyasa, and there Krishna Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyene che guhyate. It's like the second time the Abhyasa is been used. It is practice, it is required. It is not a one-day job. Oh, Arjuna, it is a practice is required to remember me. अभ्यास योग युक्त है ना, योग अभ्यास का योग करो, प्रैक्टिस करो योग का, भक्ति योग का प्रैक्टिस करना जरूरी है आपको. चेतसा नान्य गामी नाम. So by the mind and intelligence, na अन्य गामी नाम, without their being deviated. So mind and intelligence, mind should not be deviated by this. So that is the practice is required for that. And then you will achieve the desire. It is, I will be offering you the results as per your you are remembering me, and it is the practice is required for that to achieve the full results. Should we take it right now, or we can take this section next time?
Yes.
So we are ending up here, and on Monday I will not able to take the class. Should we take it on Tuesday? Tuesday, it is possible for me. Tuesday, it is not possible. Better we can take on Thursday and Friday again. I just request you, this is like Monday is a very special day. It is like the 22nd. We are having the procession here and many other activities. Many places I am the in charge for this, so I am not able to take the class in the evening. And so
Even we have here in multiple communities procession, Prabhuji, on Monday.
So Tuesday and Wednesday also it is not possible. Thursday mostly I can take, or I will just inform whether it is Tuesday is the possible. Monday only I can confirm it. Either Tuesday or Thursday I can take.
Thursday is better, Prabhuji.
Which one? Thursday.
Thursday, Friday we can have Prabhu.
Yeah, I will just check. Yeah,
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.
Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.